back in 2018. Did really well for himself. Took out $135,000 withdrawal and then blew the rest of the money. He blew his account. That's what happened. There's no other story around it. Nothing was manipulated. No one stole from him. Nothing happened. He actually did really well. I asked him why he didn't withdraw his money when he reached 600,000. He said, I want to go to $1 million. So I said, okay, try and go for $1 million. And he proceeded to lose everything. So that's what happened with Sean Lee. That's the story. I can verify it. The MyFX book he put on, on the MyFX, that thing was never updated to show the true end result. It was closed before he basically lost all the money, and that's why it never updated, and you'll see that it stopped at a certain time, but he still traded after that. Okay, so he made lots of money. He withdrew $135,000 from a $5,000 investment. Okay, so he made money. He just blew the rest of it off. Okay, so there you go. That's the story about Sean Lee. There was no manipulation. We didn't have some magical agreement set up where he was going to promote my business or whatever. And the funny thing was, he could have actually made a lot of money by the fact that he did promote Trader's Domain for free. He did a great service. That's why I don't mind him. He did a great service. He brought, I think, 2,000 or 3,000 clients on the Trader's Domain, where most of them are on today. And like I said, he did that out of the goodness of his heart. He just kept talking about how great he was trading, and people asked him, what brokerage do you trade on? He said, Trader's Domain. He did really well. I appreciate that. I said, thank you. I didn't have a deal with him. I didn't ask for any advertising or marketing. He just did it on his own. It was really good. He ran a $5,000 account up to $600,000, withdrew $135,000, was left with about $400,000, and blew it all in 3 days. It was the greatest run up ever. I really enjoyed that. I watched him do it. My liquidity providers are asking, who the hell is this guy? How did they start with such a small account? And he was doing so well. I never had any problems with him. He hated me because of the fact that I just asked him. I said, listen, just tell people the truth. If you told people the truth, that would be the best story. As a teacher, as an educator, imagine having the ability to learn from somebody and they could tell you the story of how they took a $5,000 account up to $600,000 and they withdrew money, but then they blew it because of their emotions and how they let their emotions get to them. And that's how they lost their money. People would pay big money to hear him speak about that. And I always told him that. I said, don't get mad at me and Trader's Domain for your losses. Take that as a win and leverage that and learn from that and tell everybody about it. Right? Think about that. Think about that. In 2 weeks or 3 weeks, he ran a $5,000 account up to $1 million, up to $600,000, withdrew $135,000, and then lost the rest of it, trying to get to $1 million. I'm telling you right now, that is absolutely amazing. And that's a great story to hear, because what you would learn is you would learn all the stuff that he did to run the account up. You would learn his strategy and how he did things. You would learn about all his downfalls, and he would be able to teach you from that. Why wouldn't you want to learn from somebody who did that? Who has verified stats? It's verified. The MyFX book is verified. There's no manipulation. There was no change in anything. He did what he did, and I was happy that he did what he did, because he brought a lot of notoriety to Trader's Domain. But he had an ego. He didn't want to admit that he lost control of the account. He over leveraged and he blew it. He didn't want to admit that to anybody because it looked bad in his eyes. It looked bad that he blew the account, where in my eyes it actually looked really good. Who else was able to do that? Right? In a matter of 2 or 3 weeks, he ran $5,000 all the way up to $600,000. It was in June of 2018. July 7th, 2018, he blew all the money in 2 or 3 days. Right? So think about that for a second. That is huge. That's amazing. So yeah, so I never had any problems with Sean Lee. It didn't bother me at all. It didn't bother me at all. I just wanted him to tell the truth. And then he said, Traders Demand's going to be gone in 1 year. Mark my words, or I'll burn down my office. Well, lo and behold, he spoke it into his existence, and it blew up. Right. So there you go. Like I said, I don't have problems with people in this industry. What do I care? Like, you really think you impact my life? You don't. I wish people thought that they realize that. You really don't impact my life. All right. Yep, it's 5 minutes are up. And let's continue. So we don't have to worry about that. We got 400 people. We're turning off commenting. Okay, so we're back. We're back to our originally scheduled program, which was continuing on how to learn how to trade the right way, how to data collect, and how to do work. I've turned off the comments. Your screen is black, so don't worry about it. Okay? Screen is black. Okay, let me do this. Let's see. Can I do this the right way? Yeah, I can do this the right way. Oh, I turned off the comments. Okay, so we did that. And I was doing my math here. Okay, so what we've done is we've gone to the fact that we have our Monday to Friday data set. Okay, so we took a data set. What did we do? So I'll recap for people that are just joining right now. We built ourselves a spreadsheet. Across the rows atop, we marked the 1 hour candle and we marked the 4 hour candle. And on the columns, we do Monday to Friday. So you have essentially, 20 days of data collection where you have the top 5 1 hour candles from each day and the top 2 4 hour candles from each day. So at the end of the 20 days, you should have 100 1 hour candles, and you should have 20 4-hour candles. Actually, sorry, 40 4-hour candles. Okay? That's what you should have for your data. So in 1 month, I want you to mark down the top 100 candles from Monday to Friday. So 5 candles each day, Monday to Friday over a 20-day period. And the 4-hour candles, I want you to mark down the top 2 4-hour candles each day from Monday to Friday for a 20-day period. So now what you do is you look at your data and you will say to yourself, okay, where on those data points do I have similarities? Okay, so if we took gold as an example, right, just because I trade gold, it's a little bit easier, I start to see that there are big candles at maybe 6 GMT, 9 GMT, maybe 12 GMT, and I'll start to see a little bit of replication. Oh, over here at 14 GMT, I see that there's a large candle at 14 GMT on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday of the following week, Thursday of the following week, and now I start to see. So now, because I've collected those data sets, I can start asking myself, why did those things happen consecutively on those days? So why, for the last 2 Wednesdays, did we have a large candle at 12 GMT? Or why did we have a large candle at 14 GMT? Right? So this is what you start to do, because now you start to collect information where you can start pinpointing where the best opportunities to trade will come from. Right? So when we do this, now you have an insight and say, okay, I know that there's going to be a trade opportunity between 3 GMT and 9 GMT. I know there's going to be a trade opportunity between 12 GMT and 16 GMT, right? You can start mapping that out for yourself. So now, more importantly, you have areas of concentration. You can start putting yourself into those particular areas of concentration, and then what you do is you turn around and say, okay, how does those areas fit my current trading, my current lifestyle for trading? I'm not available to trade between 12 GMT and 16 GMT, but I am available to trade between 3 GMT and 9 GMT. So now what I do is I start to focus my focus, not my intelligence, but I focus all my energy onto that specific part of the charts, and I start back testing more, and I start getting more data to satisfy the information. And then what I can do is I can say, okay, now that I know that I have data sets from between 3 GMT and 9 GMT, and I know that that's the area that I want to trade in, I can do the exact same thing that I extrapolated for my 1 hour and 4 hour charts from Monday to Friday. I can do it now for my hour charts, my 30-minute chart, my 15-minute chart. And what I'll do now is, instead of doing the top 5 hourly charts, I don't have to do that anymore. I'm going to look for the best 2 hour candles from 3 GMT to 9 GMT, mark those down, and now I'm going to go, what are my top 4 or 5 30-minute candles, my top 4 or 5 15-minute candles for that period of time. So you see now, what I'm starting to do is I'm starting to zero in on data, and I'm able to say, okay, now I can see where I'm going to have opportunities to trade the market, and now I have to ask myself, why do those opportunities present itself? And that's my next step. So I've collected all this data, I've categorized the data of where I see the most information, I've built up my chart, and I see, okay, Mondays, not too good, Wednesdays and Thursdays, really good between these times. So now I know, okay, Wednesday and Thursdays are going to be my bread and butter of trading, and I just have to figure out where I need to be at that time. And what this does for you, this does 2 things for you. It instills confidence that you know that if you don't catch an idea or a trade idea on a Wednesday, that you know, based on historical data and based on what you've done with all this research, that it'll come up again. Because you've seen it happen so many times. You've collected enough data to support your thesis that this will happen more than once. So now the over trading is removed. The revenge trading is removed, because you know that you're trading in the sweet spot for your trading period, for your trading plan, for what you're doing. You don't have to worry about missing the move, because you know that over the last 60, 120 days, 240 days of data that you've collected, because you can do this not just for 1 month, you can do it for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. You can do as much data as you want. The more data you collect, the better off you're going to be. You're going to have more confidence in your ability, because you're going to say, hey, I saw over the last 6 months, man, every Wednesday, Thursday, for the most part, 6 out of 10 times there was a setup. So if I don't see a setup this Wednesday or Thursday, I'm not going to worry about it, because I know there'll be one coming up. And you can start to anticipate those things. The confidence that you get from your data collection will take away the need to overtrade, to over leverage, to take multiple trades, because you'll know that you'll have that sweet spot every single time. And then you can start dancing around in the charts, because you can start doing this for other periods of the charts and other times, other pairs, and you can start merging all this data, so you have like a super data collection, where you could be like, hey, I know I can trade gold in the North American session, but I can trade GJ in the London session. I can do 2 pairs now, because I have data collected for both that support my argument for why I want to take a trade. Right? You have this data. Now all you have to do is just execute. Executing is easy now, because you know that it's going to appear. How are we going to execute? We're going to work off our smaller time frames, use the higher time frames as bias. Where are we looking? We're looking for our biggest candles. Where are they going to appear? How did they appear? Then we start to look at, okay, I'm looking for a rejection to the upside, a rejection to the downside, things of that nature, and I'm executing on that, knowing that I'm going to get the best opportunities at this point. That is the key to your success, is data collection, taking the data, refining it, and then putting yourself in a position to know that this is going to appear more times than not. Suddenly you have confidence. You can stand up again very easily. Now you can look at a chart and be like, I missed that today. It's coming on Wednesday or Thursday of this week. Most likely. I don't know when, but I know based on historical information, it's going to show up, right? Suddenly I don't need indicators anymore, do I? Because indicators don't help me. But what have I done? I've collected data, and that data has helped me. That's the reason why you don't need indicators, because you've collected data to provide you information for the future. Think about that. Who needs indicators now when you have this data? If you can tell me, hey, Ted, I noticed every Wednesday for the last 6 weeks, there's been a big candle at 11 GMT. I have to wait just for 11 GMT. I know it's coming between 9 and 12 GMT. I know there's going to be movement. I prepare myself accordingly. I execute. I win. I'm consistent now because I have the data to back up my consistency. I just have to show up to the charts between 11 GMT, 13 GMT, or 9 GMT and 12 GMT, or 3 GMT and 7 GMT. I will find an opportunity because there's data to support that. Who is teaching you this? Nobody. Nobody is teaching you this. Why? Because they don't trade every day. They don't execute in the market. They don't know what they're doing. They haven't figured this out. This is stuff I've done for years. Oh, Ted, how do you do so well? How are you able to do this? Because I saw this already. The key to life is data collection. You want to go out with a hot girl? You want to go out with a hot guy? You just can't walk up to them and say, hey, how's it going? You got to do data collection. What do they look like they're interested in? What are they laughing at? What makes sense? Everything is data collection in life. Collect data so that you're able to execute most efficiently. That is your key right now. Go this weekend and do all the data collection you can. Go through the spreadsheet. Do all this work. You are going to find your win rate is going to exponentially increase because of the fact you've collected all this data. You've actually done constructive work in the charts instead of opening up a fucking trading view piece of shit chart on your computer and going, hey, well, you know, I see a support over here, there's a zone over here, and there's a zone over there. That doesn't matter. What matters is when are you executing and why are you executing? Think about it. This is the key to your success. This is how you're going to get ahead. This is the holy grail, if you want, of trading, is collecting data and executing on that data. Trust me, try it. Just try it for a couple of months. Just do yourself a favor and try to prove me wrong. Try to prove me wrong and say Ted was wrong with what he said. Do that. And I guarantee you're going to learn something. You're going to learn that I was right, which I know I am. Or B, that I was wrong, but you ended up figuring a way to do it better. So it's a win-win for you. Once again, I always look for win-win scenarios. So you will do it. All right. I'm going to turn on comments and we will answer some questions and then I'm going to go have some lunch. All right. Talk more shit, please. Yeah, no problem. You're welcome. Thank you, everybody, for attending. This was, you got enough information here. Any tips on reading market structure? You will have the tips when you do this back testing. Yep. See, now you don't have any questions because now you have some work to do. That's good. How can we incorporate fundamentals into data collection? Well, now you're able to say, okay, why did that big candle appear? And you can start asking why about those candles. Right? So now you can take this data and you can start asking why. Why did those big candles appear? Oh, there was a news event. How did that news event impact things? So there you go. So you have 420 people here that learned a bit of stuff. So there you go. Candle including the wick. You can use candle including the wick. candle only the body, whichever one you're comfortable with. All right. How big are candles you're going to call big? That's your choice again. See, this is the great part about data collection is you do it whatever you feel comfortable with. Right? If there's 24 hours in a day, how many hourly candles are there? There's going to be 24. Look for the top 5 biggest candles. That's it. It's pretty easy, right? If you take a look and you look at 5 women and you say to yourself, okay, who has the biggest tits? It's pretty obvious, right? Person over there. Who has the smallest tits? Over there. And you just keep doing that back and forth, right? Or, hey, that guy's got the biggest dick, or that guy's got the smallest dick. It's pretty obvious, right? That's the visualization. That's all you're doing. Like, it's pretty straightforward, right? I mean, no one ever turned around and said, how big is too big, right? We do data collection, you just look visually. All right, well, you can do it in anything you want. So enjoy, have a good time, have fun, and I'm going to go and relax. And we can go and do all that stuff. And maybe I'll come back tomorrow and we'll do a weekly recap of my trades for the week, because I've had some interesting trades this week and I could share them with everybody. So there you go. No problem. Enjoy, have fun. Like I said, you get this information down, you'll have a really good time.